Today on the JBJ Management Podcast, we have again Chris Reynolds. He's got all these titles. I have to go back and look at them. But one of the things that I remember, first of all, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
And thanks for speaking to our team a little earlier. Really, that was fantastic.
It was fun for me too.
Well, it was a question that was asked of you. How did you get there? And it talked about your parents.
Yes.
Kind of go through that again, what your parents mean and how they got you to be in a position at Toyota, the largest automaker in the world. You were in that position. How does that happen?
Well, I think first off, it required parents who prayed a lot and were very explicit about the fact that they were praying for my future. And then they planned a lot, so they were planning for my future. So there were a number of things that, decisions that they made about my life when I was growing up in Detroit, I look back on and say, okay, that was crazy, but it worked. So one was they expected me to be in the library rather than on the athletic field. They appreciated, team sports and athletics, but they made a decision early on that my gig was to learn and read books and understand what was in those books. So it's not like they prohibited me from playing sports. It's just that they really, really supported me going to the library, getting books, reading, doing speech contests, doing things that required me to get up in front of people. And so they actually, pushed and invested me in areas that later have turned out to be sort of motifs and guidelines for my career. And they knew what they were doing. They knew that I was not going to be playing football or basketball.
Forever.
They knew that. And so, I'm probably the only black man on the planet who's never shot a basketball successfully. Because they didn't invest. That was not something they wanted me to invest in. The second thing as I said in the program, is that they were not afraid of hard work. They demonstrated hard work all the time. And so even now when I'm working very hard, I remember the harder work that my parents did, like my stepfather on the Ford Motor Company assembly line working triple shifts. Yeah. I have yet to work as hard as he has. So it's hard for me to feel sorry for myself, like, oh, I'm working so hard. No. You're not working that hard. You're working hard, but you're doing it in a context which, they did not expect and they didn't have. And I guess the other thing that they did was they gave me confidence. So many times we walk into situations, particularly as an African American, where people have a set of expectations.
100%.
Right? And so they're often not favorable to you. So if you're drawing confidence from the people around you, sometimes that will fall short and you will find yourself being anxious and not confident. As I said in the session, my mom's favorite verse was, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." So her point was, you have these God-given gifts. You don't need other people to affirm your value. You got it. So walk like it. And that's really been a lesson that's informed me throughout my career. It doesn't mean I haven't been nervous or anxious.
Sure.
But it does mean that I'm just confident that with appropriate effort and work, I'll get through it.
How do you handle time management? Because you have family, well, you have wife, children, job, spiritual connections, friends. How do you handle all of that?
So I think people make the mistake of thinking they can come up with, a big plan to sort of balance all those things. And by the way, I should answer, I still can't figure out how my wife balanced raising kids, being married to me, working, going to school, getting her degrees. Yeah. So all you working mothers out there, my mom was a working mother. Nothing I say is going to be relevant to you because you're doing it. But I think people make a mistake when they say, okay, this year I'm going to devote more time to family, or this month I'm going to devote more time to self-care. It's actually a daily exercise. When I wake up in the morning, I look at my schedule and I try and figure out, how am I going to satisfy the things that give me joy and sustain me today in and around work. So, I may take an hour off and go work out because, I feel better after I work out. I may go to work a little later, skip the traffic jam on the thruway so I can spend breakfast with my wife, just 15 more minutes with her. And so those daily minute-by-minute choices, that's what adds up to the real balance. But if we say, hey, this month I'll be home by 5 o'clock every night, we're probably going to mess up. But if you say, today I'm going to be home by 5 o'clock, you have a better shot at making it because you can plan within that window.
What's the next chapter for Chris Reynolds in life?
Next chapter in life. At some point, and again, I'm probably closer to this point than I was 20 years ago. At some point, dare I use the dreaded R word, I guess I will retire.
And do what?
I don't know yet. But it'll be with Arlene, my lovely wife, who I want to spend more time with. 35 years we've been married. I think I want to spend more time with my siblings, of whom there are many. They're still in the world with us, and I love them, and we keep finding ways to try and spend more time together. I think, ultimately I'll do something in the realm of service because I get joy from that. But beyond that, I wish I could say I had time to think about it. I'm still enjoying what I'm doing with Toyota for the most part. It's a job, right? You can't enjoy everything,
right?
But I'm really enjoying the time. So next chapter, you have to invite me back a couple of years from now, and I'll tell you what's going on.
Oh, couple of years. That next chapter is just around the corner.
Are you asking me or telling me?
Just deducting.
You're deducting. Are you trying to say I'm old? But no. Now, you know what? Ask me. You'll know when to ask me back. I'll let you know.
Chris
I'll
Reynolds,
tell you what the next chapter is.
Whatever his title is, make sure it's on the screen. All of that stuff that goes with is the screen big enough?
Just do the North America title, please. That'll be enough. Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. We
My
appreciate
pleasure,
it.
my friend.